Hi, this is Alfozia Nihar from At Home Tuition. Welcome to our session today. The topic that we are going to discuss in our today's video is fundamental principles of counting. So whenever you hear this word, fundamental principles of counting, you will come across this word, combinatorics. Combinatorics is nothing but the name for the study of the methods of counting. Although one might think of counting as a simple process, it can be quite complicated if whatever we wish to count cannot readily be visualized. In combinatorics, we are usually concerned not with the counting physical objects, but rather with counting ways of carrying out certain procedures. There are basically 6 different basic counting techniques. First one is addition principle. Second one is multiplication principles. Third one is permutation. Fourth is combination. And fifth one is circular permutation. Sixth one is factorial notation. We will be seeing one by one. In this video, we are going to concentrate on the basics, the addition counting principle and the multiplication counting principle. In combinatorics, I mean whenever you get a problem how to count without counting. So first, you should know how do you figure out how many things there are with a certain property without actually enumerating all of them. Sometimes this requires a lot of cleverness and deep mathematical insights. So these techniques will help you in counting without counting using some principles. So these are some standard techniques. Okay, let's study what are they. As I told you, in this video we shall discuss 2 fundamental principles, principle of addition and principle of multiplications. These are the 2 principles that will enable us to understand what is permutation and combination. And this is going to form the base for the permutation and combination. Okay, let us see the principles one by one. Fundamental principle of addition. So what does this mean? If there are 2 jobs such that they can be performed independently, please notice this word. If you're going to perform 2 jobs that are independently in m and n ways respectively, then either of the 2 jobs can be performed in addition, m plus n ways. So this is called the statement for the fundamental principle of addition. Now let's see the statement for fundamental principle of multiplication. If there are 2 jobs such that one of them can be completed in m ways, and when it has been completed in any one of these m ways, second job can be completed in n ways. Then the 2 jobs in succession can be completed in m and m times n ways. Do you understand the difference between these two? The jobs are independent here. For this case, the multiplication principle, the second job will occur only if the first job is completed. Do you understand the difference between these two? Okay, hope you are clear with these statements now. Let us discuss few examples so that you can understand the principle. Here is an example for the product rule. How many different license plates can be made if each plate contains a sequence of 3 uppercase English letters followed by 3 digits? Okay. So in a number plate, you have 6 blanks. Imagine like that. This question says first 3 are English and last 3 are digits. So how many alphabets are there in English? 26, right? So here we have 26 choices for the letter to be filled in with. So again, you have 26 choices because in this question they didn't mention that repetition is not allowed like that. So you need not worry about repetition here. So for the first 3 options, for the first 3 blanks, you have totally 26 choices for each of the letters. Now let's see the digits. So how many single digits are there? 0 to 9. Am I right? So totally 10 choices. You should read the question carefully and check whether the word repetition is mentioned or not. You should look that whether the question allows you to use the alphabet or the numbers repeatedly. If the repetition is not allowed, the number of choices will be reduced by 1. Am I right? So here repetition is allowed. So we are just not changing the numbers. The number of choices for each of the blank is same here. 26, 26, 26 for the first 3 and 10 for the last 3. Now let's apply the fundamental principle of counting, that is multiplication here. Just multiply all the number of choices for each of the blank because we wanted to know the different combinations. So 26 times 26 times 26 times 10 times 10 times 10. So totally I'm getting, hope you're clear with this example. Yeah, this is how the product rule works out. you should look for the number of choices and then finally multiply. Generally, in the generalized format, they will be talking about 2, but here we have 6 jobs. So you just find the number of choices for each of the job and then multiply it. Here is the next example. In a class, there are 27 boys and 14 girls. The teacher wants to select one boy and one girl to represent a competition. In how many ways can the teacher make this selection? Okay. First, let us find the number of ways of selecting a boy. Number of ways selecting a boy is 27 and number of ways of selecting a girl is 14. So from this given question, we come to know that we can select a boy or a girl. That is, it is enough to do one of the works. So we have to use the concept principle of addition. Total number of ways to make this selection is just add these two, 27 plus 14, which is equal to 41 ways. Hence, the teacher can make this selection in 41 ways. Here is the next example. Read the question carefully. Given 7 flags of different colors, how many different signals can be generated if the signal requires the use of 2 flags, one below the other? So, in this question, we are asked to choose 2 flags. Number of ways of selecting the first flag is 7. And after selecting the first flag, we cannot choose the same color flag again. Am I right? So, number of ways of selecting the second flag is just subtract 1 from the total. So, 6. Since we have to choose 2 flags, we have to multiply 7 and 6. Principal counting multiplication technique. Okay, so 7 times 6 is 42. Here is an interesting example. There are 6 multiple choice questions in an examination. How many sequences of answers are possible if the first 3 questions have 4 choices each and the next 3 have 2 each? Okay, so here we have to answer for all the 6 questions. Am I right? If the first 3 questions have 4 choices, so to answer the first questions we have 4 ways. To answer the second question we have again 4 ways. To answer the third question we have 4 ways. Am I right? Okay. Now, to answer the fourth question, the next 3 have 2 each. So, to answer the fourth question, we have 2 ways. Same for the fifth and sixth question. 2 ways, 2 ways, and 2 ways for this 2. So, the product rule will go here. Just multiply all the number of ways. So, 4 times 4 times 4 times 2 times 2 times 2. So, that will give you 512, right? So, therefore, the total number of ways to answer 6 questions is 512. Hope you're clear with this example. When solving these types of problems, you better use a table like this or a chart, or you can also prefer tree diagram. That will help you to write all the possible choices. Choices means answers that you'll be getting in each and every step, so that you may not miss anything. Let me give you the general addition principle. Let A1, A2 to AK be the disjoint events with N1, N2 to Nk possible outcomes respectively. Then the total number of outcomes for the event A1 or A2 till AK is N1 plus N2 plus N3 till Nk. Please notice that the events are disjoint here. Now let me give you the general multiplication principle. Same concept here too. Let A1, A2 till AK be the events with N1, N2 to Nk possible outcomes respectively. Then the total number of outcomes for the sequence of these K events is just the product N1 times N2 till Nk. Hope now that you have got some idea of the counting related problems and use of the multiplication to answer them. I'll now state the multiplication principle a bit formally. Okay. If a collection of objects can be separated into m different types and each of these types can be separated into n different subtypes, then there will be m times n different types of objects in all. Same way, fundamental counting principle of addition is also simple. If a total event can be accomplished in 2 or more mutually exclusive alternate ways, then the number of ways in which the total event can be accomplished is given by the sum of the number of ways, just adding, in which each alternative event can be accomplished. So, number of ways in which the total event can be accomplished can be written in the way, just add each possible number of ways for the first event, second event, third event till the kth event. This is what I have given in the general addition principle. The concept of fundamental principle of counting is very simple. but you need more practice. You need to try so many examples so that you can identify the techniques very easily. Also, you should know that the fundamental principle of counting only works when the choice that is to be made are independent of each other. I'll stress this word again and again. If one possibility depends on the other, then a simple multiplication does not work. So if that is the case, we can look at the other techniques, permutation, combination and all. We can discuss those techniques detailedly in the following videos. Hope you got an idea on the addition principle and multiplication principle. In case if you get any query, kindly let me know. See you in the next video.